Good evening, all, and welcome to Sargakshetra Cultural and Academic Center. This is our second day of live webinar of NTA UGC Net JRF Paper 1. Yesterday, we had 500 participants. Today also, we are expecting the same number. We are still admitting people in. Some of your admission number or this code I am able to recognize, and I'm happy that you were able to enter today also. 500 students have in fact registered, and we will be able to admit only 500. Here it's in Sargakshetra, it's always first come, first serve. Sargakshetra Academy is an academy managed by CMI fathers, CMI priest, and it is situated in Kerala, in Kottayam district, Changanaശ്ശേരി. We have audience from Pan India. Majority are from South India, but we have nearly 200 participants from across North India also. And we are very glad to welcome all of you to this particular webinar. I can assure all the aspirants, once you have joined with us, once you have learned with our resource person, Mr. Dennis Joe Sir, definitely you can all achieve above 60% in paper 1. That is our record. Sargakshetra has always got the history of making all its students pass this paper 1 paper. Hence, we have this rush. Now, I would like to spotlight to our resource person, Dennis Sir. When I speak about Sir, it's from my heart that I say about him. He is an experienced resource person in this field for past 50 years. In no time, you can see his expertise in the subject knowledge, his communicative skills, his teaching skills. He normally deals with past year question papers. He will call out the names and make you solve the question papers so that you may tell an answer, and if you're wrong, sir will be able to explain why you are wrong and why the answer is correct. We are having such free webinars for 5 days, and in all 5 days, we'll be dealing with different modules. After the completion of 5 days, all 10 modules will be completed. Only the lucky ones will be able to enter all 5 days. I cannot promise that we can let you all for all the 5 days, but simultaneously a live stream is also happening in the YouTube. Around 300 participants are watching through the live YouTube also. Now I pass the mic to Dennis Joe Sir. More about the course and the course fee, about the structure, I'll be telling to you after the class. So Dennis Joe Sir, I would request you, and I would request all the participants to give a thumbs up to Sir to welcome Sir. Sir, we welcome you.
Hello, thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. And let's begin with a short prayer. I believe I am audible to each of you. Those who, if you're unable to continue in the session due to some network issues, you could attend the live streaming that's happening in the YouTube. And the link is available from the Sargakshetra office. So you can contact them in case you are able to not join this group. So we'll begin with, as I said yesterday, let me, I just want to uh, get an idea from you. Are you able to see the word screen I have shared over here? Can you see the word screen? Could you see in the word screen? Yes, okay. So we begin with the module of Indian logic, and I think for the next 1 hour 30 minutes, we will discuss the main concepts of Indian logic, and then we'll solve some 10 to 15 questions from the module of the from the chapter of Indian logic. And this area comes in the module of logical reasoning. This portion has been introduced in the syllabus of NET exam since June 2019. And since June 2019, we have been getting questions regularly in all the shifts. We have 10 shifts for paper one, and we have been getting questions in all the shifts from Indian logic. And a huge increase in the number of questions, huge increase in the weightage of this module was seen in December 2019. So that is the main reason I thought I'll dedicate the second day for discussing the major questions from this module. So, moving directly to the topic, as per the Indian logic, there are various philosophies, various schools of thought that we have to understand in the Indian school of thought. In that, two schools of thought or two philosophies that we have to learn about are the Mimamsa philosophy and the Nyaya philosophy. There are two philosophies that we need to understand, the Mimamsa philosophy and the Nyaya school of thought. In the Nyaya school of thought, we have got certain rules, and in the Mimamsa school of thought, we have got some rules. So, what we are going to learn today is actually the outcome of these two schools of thought. So, as per Indian logic, valid knowledge is called pramana. I would say the valid knowledge. A knowledge can be valid. So, in order to gain a valid knowledge, you should practice several steps. So, as per the Indian system of logic, there are six means of acquiring a valid knowledge. And these are the six pramanas. The six pramanas are given over here. And I expect you to please focus on the word screen I am sharing. You can place my video to some corner of your screen and please focus on this part. There are six pramanas that we have to learn, six pramanas through which in Indian logic we acquire knowledge through these six pramanas. The first pramana is pratyaksha, the second pramana is anumana, the third pramana is upamana, the fourth one is shabda. These are the four pramanas: pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, and shabda. Pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, and shabda. These are the four pramanas. First four pramanas. And these four pramanas are a part of Nyaya philosophy. Nyaya philosophy. And we have two more pramanas. As I said, there are six pramanas for acquiring valid knowledge as per the Indian logic. The fifth and the sixth pramana are derived from the Mimamsa school of thought. So you, by moving forward, when you move forward, you will see, some similarity in at least one or two pramanas, and that is because these pramanas are derived from two different schools of thought. So Nyaya philosophy introduces you to four pramanas: Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, and Shabda. And we have the two more pramanas, which is Arthapadi and Anubalabdhi, that is a part of Mimamsa philosophy. So we start the preparation for the module chapter of Indian logic through these six pramanas. So it's important you learn these six Sanskrit words. Pratyaksha, the English meaning is perception. Anumana, which means inference. Upamana means comparison. Shabda is verbal testimony. And Arthapadi is presumption, and Anubalabdhi is non-apprehension. I'm sure I won't be getting such huge responses for my questions like I was getting yesterday, because yesterday's topic was somewhat general. And today I think this is somewhat a tough topic, and only if you are prepared, you will be able to respond. So I'm not focusing much on your responses. I'll be giving this session as a one-way session. Please bear with me and please attend to me, and I will answer. I will interact with you while discussing the questions from December 2019 and June 2019. So I am seeing plenty of requests like please send me the material. Please, can I get this PDF? So all these requests could be taken. I could be attended through the registration number that is provided. So it is not my. I won't be able to share this now. So you can contact the office for the materials. I'll be handing over this. So starting with the six pramanas, it's important. The first four pramana is a part of the Nyaya school of thought, and the last two pramanas are part of the Mimamsa philosophy. Let us move to each pramana in detail. I'm taking you to the first pramana, which is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha, as the English meaning says, pratyaksha means perception. Perception. How do you perceive? So pratyaksha is the knowledge that we gain through our sense organs. How do we gain knowledge? Through our sense organs. So pratyaksha helps us in gaining knowledge through our sense organs. Sense organs. You know, the sense of touch, the sense of vision, all the five sense organs help us to gain knowledge. And pratyaksha is made up of two words, pradi plus aksha. Pradi means the function of each sense organ, and aksha means the sense organ. So pratyaksha is a valid knowledge produced by the contact of an object with a sense organ. Within pratyaksha, you have various classifications. And the first classification is anubhava and smriti. You know, anubhava stands for the direct perception, and smriti stands for the remembered perception. When I acquire knowledge in direct contact with something, it is called anubhava. When you attend this session or through the live session, you are getting actually anubhava. When you are watching my recorded video, you are actually experiencing smriti, the remembered perception. Or when you try to recollect what are being discussed in this class after this session, you will be relying on the rule of smriti. So pratyaksha I am dividing into two, anubhava and smriti. So today I have introduced you to eight Sanskrit words. The first six are the first pramanas. The seventh Sanskrit word I was speaking about is anubhava, and the eighth Sanskrit word is smriti. So this is one classification of pratyaksha. Moving to the second classification of pratyaksha, let us see there are few more classifications for pratyaksha, which is the first source of valid knowledge, and the second classification of pratyaksha is known as nirvikalpaga. Nirvikalpaga and Savikalpaga. So you could see the second classification of the Pramana Pratyaksha. These are Nirvikalpaga and Savikalpaga. Nirvikalpaga stands for indiscriminate perception, and Savikalpaga stands for discriminate perception. Okay. So what is indiscriminate perception? Here, you know, an object is perceived without its distinguishing features. So you can learn in two ways. You can just memorize something, or you can understand and learn. This is important. So when you learn something just for the sake of memorizing, you are practicing nirvikalpaga or indiscriminate perception. I am just perceiving something without understanding the distinguishing features. The second classification in here is savikalpaga. In savikalpaga, I am focusing on the discriminate perception. I am trying to understand something by and analyzing the different features of the content. So I'm trying to learn through examples. I'm learning to understand the concept. So which is better? We can't say, because both has its own positives and negatives. But any knowledge should follow. Acquisition of any knowledge should have this classification, I would say. Nirvikalpaga is essential to some extent, but the best way to learn something is through Savikalpaga. So Nirvikalpaga is indiscriminate perception, and Savikalpaga is discriminate perception. You are trying to understand something through through examples, through its distinguishing features. So we have learned two more Sanskrit words, ninth and 10th, Nirvikalpaga and Savikalpaga. I'm moving to the next important concept that has been introduced through the Pratyaksha Pramana, the Pramana of Pratyaksha, or the first Pramana of valid knowledge, which is called the perception. The presence of God is explained through Pratyaksha. So this is one very important point you have to note. The presence of God. The presence of God is explained through the pramana of pratyaksha. But moving forward, you may feel like, why not the presence of God could be explained through another school of thought or another pramana like Anima. Plus, but don't get confused. As per the Indian logic, the presence of God is explained through pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is applied to both divine or human as per the Nyaya school of thought. So you can apply the concept of pratyaksha either to the divine concept or to the human concept. You know, divine concept is referred by the term of idealism. The third classification of perception, the third classification of the first pramana, which is pratyaksha, is given over here as Laugiga and Alaugiga. The third classification for the Pramana Pratyaksha is Laugiga and Alaugiga. What is Laugiga? Laugiga is also known as secular knowledge or ordinary knowledge. Laugiga refers to the knowledge derived from a trustworthy people. So you trust me today at the session, right? That's the reason you have joined for the session. The content I am delivering today will definitely help you the net exam. There is a trust that you are putting relying on me, and you know that when you gain knowledge through a trustworthy person, when you gain knowledge from a trustworthy person, it is known as laugiga. And in laugiga or ordinary perception, you know, it is also known as ordinary perception. Most of the knowledge is acquired through our sense organs. It is also referred by a Sanskrit term which is bahya. Okay, so laugiga, bahya are important. It is one category of the third classification of pratyaksha, which is laugiga and alaugiga. The second classification is alaugiga. Alaugiga stands for extraordinary knowledge. Extraordinary knowledge. So extraordinary knowledge is something which we derive from God, something which is derived from the Vedas. So I am getting responses from some of you that you are not able to follow, not able to understand the concept. This is something new to most of you. So the best way to learn this is just listen to me for the first 30-40 minutes, and I will show you the previous year questions, and through that I'll explain the concepts again, and I can guarantee you by the time you leave this session, you will be able to solve every question from this chapter of logical reasoning. So please trust me, Anupallavi AB, Anupraveen, you are saying, I understand that this is a very difficult topic, but please trust me, for the next 45 minutes, you're going to really go mad with these Sanskrit terms. But after that, I can assure you, when I'm going to start with the questions in December 2019 and June 2019, you will be able to solve in a much better way. And then you are going to say that this topic is very simple. So let me tell you once again, we have introduced the six pramanas. I didn't explain the six pramanas, six Sanskrit term, and I was explaining the first pramana, which is called the pratyaksha. And within pratyaksha, we have got three classification. The first classification is, you know, speaks about anubhava and smriti. The second classification is nirvikalpaga and savikalpaga, and the third classification is laugiga and alaugiga. Okay, so we have learned six different classification for the first pramana pratyaksha. Within alaugiga, we have got three more classifications happening. Within alaugiga, we have three more classification happening, and I'll be showing you the three more classifications over here. The three classifications within alaugiga, and you know, alaugiga is deals with extraordinary knowledge. Extraordinary knowledge or Vaidiga. It is also known as Vaidiga. It is the knowledge that we gain from God. So alaugiga is classified into three: Samanya Lakshana, Jnana Lakshana, and Yogaja. It is again classified into three: Samanya Lakshana, Jnana Lakshana, and Yogaja. Samanya Lakshana means how do general people think? How do the masses think? Jnana Lakshana is complicated knowledge. How do I present to you this complicated knowledge? Actually, I am sharing with you some complicated knowledge that you have to have before you attend the net exam. So what I am sharing is you are acquiring this knowledge through a jnana lection, I would say. Yogaja means intuition. Intuition is even having learned these things. When you approach the paper one exam, you might be confused to see the Sanskrit terms, and you might have to apply the concepts which you learned from this on the question paper at the time of exam. So that is yogaja. So yogaja is intuition. So now I have explained to you the entire Sanskrit terms that come under the pramana of first pramana of Indian logic, which is pratyaksha. I really say it is difficult initially, but after this session I'm going to say this is going to be the easiest topic that you can score very well for the upcoming net exam. So I'll just revise the concepts again for the late joinees. There are six pramanas: pratyaksha, anubana, upamana, shabda, arthapadi, and anubalabdi. And within this, the first pramana is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha, within pratyaksha, And what is pratyaksha? You have to understand pratyaksha deals with perception, or the real, the knowledge which we acquire through our sense organs. And it is classified, it has three classifications within that. The first classification is Anubhava and Smriti. Anubhava and Smriti, we explained to you what it is. The second classification is Nirvikalpaga and Savikalpaga. The third classification, Laugika and Alaugika. And before discussing the third classification, I also said the presence of God is explained through Pratyaksha. And somebody asking me a doubt, what is Samanya Lakshana? As I'm going to repeat this again, repeat this for you. The Samanya Lakshana is the perception of the classes. How do the crowd perceive this? How do general way of learning something? So when you learn something, you can learn in two ways. You can learn in a general way, or you can learn in a particular way. So I have a query in the chat. What is Samanya Lakshana? Samanya Lakshana. Even you take the word meaning, Samanya means the ordinary people. How do ordinary people acquire knowledge? Even the first level of acquisition of knowledge must be in the simplest form. So when you move to Jnana Lakshana, it is a complicated form of acquiring knowledge. And Yogaja means, we will usually use the term like sixth sense. Sixth sense, something which you gain through intuition, by your experience. So that is called intuition. We may be able to predict some areas for the net exam based on our experience, and that is called intuition or yogaja. So I'm not going to read the entire pramanas at a stretch. I'll take you to a few questions from December 2019, and you will be able to understand how well you are going to answer this question without after seeing this theory. I'll show you one question from December 2019, and I want everybody to answer to this question. Please wait. Yes, I'm going to show you the question, fifth question. This was one question that came for NDA UGC Net Paper 1, December 2019. I do not remember the shift exactly, but I'm for sure there were 14 questions. So this is time to answer the first question. Quick answers. The term yogaja or intuition pertains to which of the following pramanas? So congrats to everybody who have listened to my few words, and you are all able to answer this in the correct way. The term yogaja pertains to which of the following pramanas? The answer is undoubtedly option A, which is perception. So this is it. This is very easy. I hope I have given you the confidence to approach this chapter, right? Have I given you the confidence to answer any question from this area? Yes. So that's why the topic seems difficult, but if you approach in the right way, you will be able to solve any question that comes for the net exam. So congrats to everybody. I'm showing you one more question from the paper 1 exam. This was also asked in December 2019. Please answer this question. Question number 8 in the word file. The distinction between Savikalpaga and Nirvikalpaga is made with respect to which pramana? Someone is giving me the option C. I wonder how come you are able to give me the answer as option C. But anyway, it's time you can correct, you can update your knowledge on this. The distinction between Savikalpaga and Nirvikalpaga is given by option B. Yes, Pratyaksha or perception. So we are seeing direct questions, right? Direct questions from this. Let me see if I can give you one more question from this. Let me see. I think there is one more question that came from this pramana. Yeah, which one second. Yeah, question number 6. Question number 6 over here. You could answer my question. Question number 6. Quick answers. Which of the following pramanas is used by classical Indian logic to prove the existence of God? Prove the existence of God. How can you don't worry about how do you prove and all. For the net exam, I think this knowledge is enough. Perception or pratyaksha. So having learned the first pramana of pratyaksha, we were able to solve 3 questions. So when you prepare for the next net exam, I would say you have to learn the remaining Sanskrit terms in under the first pramana. Okay, under the first pramana, you have to prepare those terms that didn't come for December 2019. So in December 2019 we had Nirvikalpaga and Savikalpaga. We had one question, the presence of God. We had one question, Yogaja. So I'll take you back to the material again of the first pramana of Pratyaksha. And I'll show you the terms which were not asked in December 2019. Okay. Which were the Sanskrit words that were not asked in December 2019? Anubhava and Smriti didn't come. Anubhava and Smriti. So I think Anubhava and Smriti you have to focus for the NET exam. No, not even a single question gets repeated in the NET exam. Only the conceptual understanding is tested, but the concept is same. So please focus on Anubhava and Smriti for the NET exam. Nirvikalpaka and Savikalpaka already been asked. Please focus on these areas like Samani Lakshana and Jnana Lakshana. Yogaja already came. So that's about the first pramana, which is called Pratyaksha. I'm moving to the second pramana. The second pramana is Anumana. And I think this is the most important pramana. But I have given a very short note over here. You may be confused. The most important pramana I am describing with just 3 sentences. The reason is I'll just give you an introduction about Anumana now, and after completing the 6 pramanas, I will move in depth to the pramana of Anumana in detail. Okay, I'll move to the Anumana pramana in later on. So stay tuned with this session. I'll just introduce what is Anumana. Anumana means Anu plus Mana. Anu means after and Mana means knowledge. So after acquiring the first pramana, after acquiring knowledge through the first pramana, you have to use that knowledge, right? We have to apply what we have learned. So when you apply what you have learned, when we use the acquired knowledge through the first pramana, then that refers to the pramana of Anumana. Anumana means inference. Inference. Anumana stands for inference. So Anumana refers to the knowledge that follows other knowledge. The previous knowledge is called linga, and what is being inferred is called lingi. So I am just concluding with this, but I repeat, this is the most important pramana which you have to focus on, and I'll be spending about 20-25 minutes on this pramana after taking you through the 6 pramanas. The next pramana, the easiest of the 6 pramanas, the easiest of the 6 pramanas. So when you learn the 6 pramanas, you have to learn this in the order I'm giving you. Pramana number 1 is Pratyaksha. Pramana number 2 is Anumana. Pramana number 3 is Upamana. So you don't put Shabda in as Pramana number 3. You have to learn in this order itself. The Pramana number 3, as per the Indian logic, is Upamana. So what is Upamana? Upamana means comparison. Comparison. When you compare with something, or when you find the sadrishya between two things, it is called Upamana. In Sanskrit, I think there is a word called Ubama, Ubamana, or Sadrishya. When you try to compare one concept with another concept, it becomes the pramana of Ubamana. So Ubamana is a knowledge that is derived from similarity. Ubamana is a knowledge that is derived through similarity. So you can see over here, there is an example which is a classic example given in almost every textbooks available for the NET exam. I don't know why they are sticking onto this single example, but there are infinite examples I can give. But I thought I'll take an example which is very common in all the textbooks available for Indian logic. When we tell a city man that a wild cow is like an animal, is an animal like a cow, later on when he sees a wild cow in a forest and he recognizes it as wild cow, then this knowledge of the wild cow is the outcome of the conjunction with the knowledge of the cow. I think if you read the sentence, you will go mad. It's very complicated, but I'll give you a very simple example to understand this. You take an apple and teach a student that this is an apple. And when this student goes out to shop and he sees an apple in a fruit stall, he's able to connect, oh, this is the one which my teacher showed me in the class. So this is Upamana. I'm teaching you some questions. I'm sharing with you some questions. And when you appear for the paper on exam, you see a similar question and you say, oh, this was the question we discussed for the session, the 5-day program, and you will be able to connect something, right? So when you are able to relate something, you try to find the similarity in knowledge, you are actually practicing the pramana of Upamana. And Upamana, actually Upamana is a part of Nyaya school of thought. Nyaya school of thought. A similar concept is there as per the Mimamsa school of thought. Under Mimamsa school of thought, this Upamana is known as, this Upamana is also referred by a term called analogy. So analogy and Upamana are actually same. Analogy is a term that was introduced through the Mimamsa's philosophy. But Upamana is a term that was introduced by the Nyaya school of thought. Okay. Yes. I'm giving you an example, you know. Yeah, synonymous. I'll give you an example. A student is to a school. A student is to a school. A student is to a school. In a way, a book is to dash. I can ask you a question in this way. I'm typing one question over here. A student is to school. In a similar way, a book is to dash. Could you answer the fill up the space over there? Quickly give me a logical term I could give over here. As there, a student is to school, a book is to library. The simplest question you can get. So this is what happens in Ubamana. This is analogy question. So analogy is a term that is given by the Mimamsa school of thought, and you know, Upamana was a term introduced by the Nyaya school of thought. That was the third pramana of Upamana, which speaks about comparison. Moving to the fourth principle, the fourth pramana, which is known as Shabda. Shabda, you know, you listen to me through my video and my voice. So even if I switch off the video from my side, you will be able to listen to me through the voice. And what is the knowledge that you gain through my voice, through any sound is called Shabda. When you listen to an audio clip, you acquire knowledge through the phenomena of Shabda. So Shabda refers to the verbal knowledge. Shabda refers to the verbal knowledge. Shabda refers to the verbal knowledge. All the verbal statements are not valid. So I'm not going to explain more on the pramana of Shabda. Within Shabda, I would request you please focus on four terms: Apta, Karana, Padajnana, and Vyabhara. So if I am going to explain such in depth now, I'm not going to, I won't be able to finish the entire, six pramanas now. So I'm not going in depth to each of this. The four steps in gaining valid knowledge through Shabda are Apta, Karana, Padajnana, and Vyabhara. And within Shabda, there is one more classification called Drishtartha and Adrishtartha. So there are six Sanskrit words that you have to remember under the Pramana of Shabda, which is verbal testimony. Moving to the fifth Pramana, which is Arthapadi. Arthapadi means presumption. Presumption. So we have completed the Nyaya school of thought. I am taking you to the next school of thought, which is Mimamsa school of thought. Under the Mimamsa school of thought, there are two pramanas being introduced. One is Arthapadi and Anubalati. So what is Arthapadi? Arthapadi means you are assuming something. You are presuming something. Imagine a friend of you invited you for a dinner at his home, at his house. You reached his home and you are not able to see him there. Actually, he invited you to attend a party at let's say 8 p.m. tonight, and you reach there and you are not able to see your friend over there. So what you would be thinking? Okay, he might have gone out for a short time. Like you are assuming something, but it may or may not be right. Such an assumption is called arthapadi. Such an assumption is known as arthapadi. So you may get confused. Why not this is inference? Why not this is anumana? That's the reason I said anumana belongs to a different school of thought. Arthapadi belongs to another school of thought. That's why you find a slight similarity between arthapadi, the fifth pramana, and anumana. But I repeat, Arthapadi, you don't get confused. Arthapadi makes assumptions which are not valid, which might go wrong. Okay. So the fifth pramana, which is Arthapadi, in the pramana of Arthapadi, we have got, and we are making actually an assumption, but those assumptions may not stand 100% true. There can be errors in the assumption, but in Anumana, even though we make assumptions, those assumptions are valid. Those assumptions are very much valid. So the common example which I just said is given over here. You could collect the material from, I believe, the Sargakshetra department. So you please contact the office. You are saying two speedy class, and please allow you to write down the entire points. I don't think this is possible for a 1 hour session. How can I make you write? I would like to make you write all these things, but yeah, I'd be provided a 3 hour session today. But unfortunately, I'm extremely sorry to you. I'll be sharing this material to Sargakshetra, and please collect the material from Sargakshetra Academy. So the means of presumption are Anupadi and Upapati. There are two means of presumption, which is Anupadi and Upapati. So that is about the pramana of Arthapadi. The sixth pramana is, but please remember there are many more things within Anupadi, Arthapadi. Arthapadi, you have to understand what is Anupadi and Upapadi. Somebody again giving a message, please don't chat uh, unnecessarily. You are free to chat, no issues, but I think I won't be responding to your questions every now and then. When I see some valid doubts, I will be answering. I can see your chats happening over there, but please attend to this session clearly. In between, if you are asking for notes, you won't be able to attend this session. Also, you won't be able to write it down. So please try to capture as many points from this short session. So please, okay, please listen to my video first, and I'll be sharing this material. Don't worry, don't worry. Okay, so the means of presumption are Anupadi and Upapadi. So I'm not explaining the details of Anupadi and Upapadi, which I'll be doing when the real class happens. So Anupalabdhi means non-apprehension. Out of the six pramanas, the first five pramanas speaks about existence of something. Okay, out of the six pramanas, the first five pramanas, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, and Arthapadi. The first five pramanas, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, and Arthapadi, they speak about the existence of something. This is the first pramana that speaks about non-existence of something. There is nothing like this. So let me tell you one valid point. If you want to say that something is not there, you should be in a position that where you were aware that it was there. If I have to say that Mr. X is not present in the group now, I should have been aware that he was already there in the session 10 minutes ago. So when I have to say something do not exist, I am practicing the pramana of Anubalabdhi. And it is difficult to say something do not exist. You can say something do not exist only if you know what existed, that it existed previously, right? So non-apprehension is a kind of negating, or you're saying it's not a negative pramana. It has a positive approach in that, but the approach, it is trying to bring out something which do not exist. So that's if mentioned over here. Out of the five pramanas, the sixth pramana is used to convey negative facts. Negative facts means something do not exist. The best example I've given over here is the absence of a jar on the ground is apprehended through Anubalabdhi. So you kept a jar on the table, and when you're back after 1 hour, you're not able to see the jar over there. And you say that, where did the jar go and where is the jar? You are asking the question. Why you are able to ask that question? Because you are not able to see the jar over there. And the absence of the jar is actually apprehended. Absence of the jar is noticed only because you are able to know something. It was there. So it is a kind of unlearning that happens. Habits, it's easy to create habits, but it's very difficult to unlearn something. So if you prepare for the net exam in a wrong way, it is very difficult for you to learn the right way. So I think most of you are extremely lucky. You have approached the right content today, and you should thank God Almighty for giving you such a wonderful opportunity of attending such an in-depth content. It is not my skill, I would say. It is your luck that you were able to collect this best content from this session. So, Anubalabdhi means non-apprehension. It is like the absence of jar or absence of something is actually is noticed through the pramana of Anubalabdhi. So as I said, the most important pramana is Anumana. Before moving to the most important pramana, I want you to discuss and answer to some of the previous year questions also, which you can now you could have solved. Okay. So let me start with the first question. I think this we didn't discuss. We didn't discuss earlier. So question number one, I just want to quickly go through the question and answer to this one. The difference between Laugika and Alaugika is made with reference to which one of the following pramanas? Yeah, hundreds of correct answers. Right. The distinction between Laugika and Alaugika is made with respect to which of the following pramanas? It is Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha says the difference between two concepts, Laugika and Alaugika, right? Okay. Moving to the second question, which I believe you can answer with the understanding of the pramanas, 6 pramanas. I'll show you some questions. Yeah. Question number 10. Which of the following is true with reference to Anubal FD? And if you are able to answer this correctly, I would say you are going to qualify the JRF exam. You have to be going through the options. Please read this very well. All the options are confusing. And I would say this is one of the trickiest questions you can get from the 6 pramanas. Which of the following is true with respect to the pramana of Anubal FD? Anubal FD as a means of knowledge. Which of the following is true with reference to Anubal FD as a means of knowledge? Okay. See, all the options are same. All the options are same, right? The first option says, I do not cognize the pot on the table, therefore it is absent there. The second option is, I directly perceive the absence of pot on the table. I should really appreciate the person who prepared this question. We should really appreciate him, because in order to prepare a question like this, it requires in-depth understanding of the 6 pramanas. And this is the trickiest question among the 6 pramanas which I have ever seen from any of the guides or any of the textbooks. Hats off to the person who prepared this question. The first one is, I do not cognize the pot on the table, therefore it is absent over there. The second is, I directly perceive the absence of pot on the table. The third one is, I infer the absence of pot on the table. And the fourth one is, I know the absence of pot on the table, and I know its similarity. There is some similarity happening. So each of these options speak about each pramana. There are some students who thought like, oh, it's this absence of the pot, so why not you answer the option directly? But all the options are same, confusing. There is just a difference on a single word that happens. So let me explain to you. I'll start from the last option over here. I know the absence of pot on the table because I know its similarity with other absences. So what is what can you give about the fourth pramana? What about fourth pramana? Could you say something about the fourth pramana? Which pramana, fourth option, which pramana I could connect with this? I'm seeing a word similarity here, right? Similarity. See something like similarity. So this could be connected to Ubamana. Ubamana is similarity. Ubamana is similarity, right? The option number C, I infer something. When you infer something, what is that called? When you infer something, it is known as, quick answers please. When I infer something, it's known as, when I infer something, this is called, when I infer something, this is known as, answer please. Yes, when I infer something, this becomes the pramana of, yeah, very good, inference. The pramana of, when I infer something, this becomes the pramana of inference or anumana, right? Anumana. So most of you have given the option C as your choice, but see, when you say the word infer, it is like anumana. Now, what about option B? Option B, I directly perceive the absence of pot on the table. I directly perceive the absence of pot on the table. When I perceive something, it is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha, right? It's pratyaksha. When I directly perceive something, it is pratyaksha. So the answer is option A. Very few among the participants gave me the right answer. I think one of you suggested this answer. I do not remember your name because the responses are crowding. But anyway, my hearty congratulations to the person who gave me the answer. I believe it's not a guesswork from your side. You have disturbance happening. I might request the part. I must mute everybody, I believe. Let me mute. You have noise. Okay, 1 second. Let me mute the participants. I'll mute the participants. 1 second. Okay. Now it's clear, right? I muted everybody. Hello. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. So you are not able to listen? You had this disturbance through the entire session? You had this disturbance through the entire session? Okay, now only. Okay. Now, please let me know if there is some disturbance happening. I'll mute the entire participants over here. If anybody, I repeat, there is a live streaming happening in YouTube, and this session will be available in YouTube maybe for 1 or 2 days. So if you want to make notes, you can watch that video over there and then make note of this. Okay. So that is one reason I am not giving you a chance to write it down. It's not because I'm selfish. Don't think like that. I want to cover more topics today so that everybody is benefited from this session. So which of the following is true with reference to animal empathy? The answer is cognize. So I'm going to give you one important clue. Along with the pramana of Anubhalabdhi, along with the pramana of Anubhalabdhi, you have to learn this word cognition. What I said yesterday during the teaching aptitude module, you know, um, the teaching aptitude module, I said about cognition, cognitive means thinking. So when I see, my friend invites me to his a party, and when I arrive and I reach there, I'm not able to see him. So I think that he's not there at home. He might have gone outside. So I'm making an assumption. It's not an assumption particularly, it is a kind of thinking that comes to my mind. So a key word which you can connect with Anubhalabdhi is cognition or presumption. So I do not cognize the thought on the table. Therefore, it's absent over there. Is a best example. Sure. Okay. So I'm taking you to one more pramana, one more question. Yes. Could you solve question number 12? Question number 12 over here. Which of the following concepts of Indian logic system denotes circumstantial evidence? Circumstantial implication. Answer, please. Circumstantial implication. Yeah, when you see the word like circumstantial implication means you are making, inference based on some evidence, right? I think I gave you a slight varied example. I'm sorry because I gave an example of Arthapadi along with the 10 question. And I don't know how many of you noted that change I made because I was attending your, the trying to respond to your chat over there. See, the option A over here for question number 10 is Anubhalabdhi. So I cannot connect this with the example which I said, like I'm visiting my friend, and that is connected with Arthapadi, circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial implication means I'm trying to, you know, I'm to bring out a concept which could be, I'm trying to bring out an inference from the circumstances, but this may or may not be true. I'm not sure that this is going to be true. So Arthapadi, please remember the example of you visiting your friend's house. The previous, I gave you the example along with the previous question. Please don't take it along with that. Please think of the example of visiting your friend and you're not meeting your friend over there. So you're based on the circumstantial evidence, you are thinking that your friend has gone out. So you're making a circumstantial inference. But the word cognition could be cognize, could be connected with the Anubhalabdhi, where you're trying to say something is not there. And these two pramanas like Arthabadi and Anubhalabdhi, I'd say both belong to the Mimamsa school of thought, and they could be treated like one is the opposite of other. First philosophy, the under the Mimamsa school, you have Arthapadi coming initially, and Arthapadi says you are trying to imply something. Anubhalamdi says you are saying something do not exist. So these two could be clubbed and learned. So please remember the word cognition happens with the last pramana, which is Anubhalamdi, and Arthapadi means you're trying to pursue something. You're trying to make an implication. but that need not be valid. So if it has to be valid, it follows the pramana of Anumana. So question number 12, the answer is option B, Arthapadi. Okay. The 13th question, question number 13 from December 2019 exam. Ubamana is basically, Ubamana is basically, I think this was the easiest question we had for paper 1 for December 2019. And those who were appeared for this shift are the luckiest one, because this is just a simple question. Ubamana is basically very good. It's just a comparison, right? So the easiest question, you cannot expect such questions always. And I'm taking you to the June 2019. As I said initially, this syllabus, this portion was introduced in the new syllabus from June 2019. So in June 2019, we had around 2 or 3 questions based on this pramana. And let me show you the first question, which you can answer now. Question number 15 over here. There is no jar on the ground. There is no jar on the ground. Identify the means of knowledge. Isn't there? You are saying there is no jar on the ground. Now on the ground, you are cognizing something. Your cognition is happening. You're saying there is nothing over there now. When you say a negative fact, the absence of something, that is explained through the pramana. The pramana number, yes, the pramana number 6. Pramana number 6, which is Anubalabdi. Am I right? Right. Congrats. All are giving me the right answer. Option A is right. Anubalabdi is the right answer over here. That was 15th question in the entire list, which I am explaining. But I don't think we have complete. We are yet to cover some more questions in between. All the questions are based on the pramana of Anumana, which I'm going to discuss in detail. Two more pramanas I would like to show you. This was also a question from June 2019, paper 1. This also could be answered by your current knowledge on the 6 pramanas. Consider the example given below. Devdatta is growing fat. He does not eat during the day. Therefore, he must be eating during the night, other things being equal. So there is a clue that is going to help you answer this question. Other things being equal. Other things being equal is a presumption, right? He must be eating during the night. He must be eating during the night. So, Devdatta is growing fat. He does not eat during the day. So you are presuming, right? I'm just assuming something. I am assuming that he must be eating during the night. But I cannot say my knowledge is valid. I cannot say my inference or my conclusion is valid. I'm implying something like he must be eating during the night. But I'm not sure he's doing that. I'm just based on the circumstantial evidence, I'm saying something. If I am able to say my assumption is 100% right, okay, this is inference, this is Anumana. But it is not an Anumana. Definitely this is not an Anumana, because I'm not able to conclude with certainty. I'm just giving an assumption. Other things being equal, I'm presuming he is not opting for some other way for eating. Like, it is not because of his health issues. Even though he's not eating, he's growing fat. So I'm assuming that he's not attempting any other mechanism to reduce his weight. So these are all based on the circumstantial evidence. So I cannot mark option C, as many of you have given me option C as the answer initially. But now when I asked you to think again, you're giving me the right answer. The answer is Arthapadi. And I'm really happy, and not happy. I'm confused to see somebody giving me an answer like Shabda. How can Shabda be an answer for this? Okay, and somebody even says Anuma, but it cannot be Shabda. No way you can mark the option Shabda. Okay, but I think that person has to attend this session from the beginning once again. So there is an option for you. You can please attend the YouTube live streaming over there. It will be uploaded soon, and you please attend to that and ensure that you do not give me the answer Shabda again. Anyway, all of you have given the right answer, Arthapadi, over here. Moving to the 17th question, question number 17. Consider the example provided below. This Gavaya is like my cow. This is an example for which pramana. This Gavaya is like my cow. You are easily able to connect Gavaya with my cow. You're comparing, no? When you compare something, it's the pramana of Ubamana, and it is given over here, Ubamana. So the questions we had in June 2019 were very easy from this module. But in December 2019, as I said, there was a sudden change in the level of questions being asked. So you have to, that shows, you have to prepare well in depth from this module for the upcoming NET exam also. So out of the 17 questions which I have given over here, we have solved 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around 10 questions we have solved. We have only 7 questions remaining. And in order to solve the remaining 7 questions, you have to understand the pramana of Anumana in depth. So I am moving to that pramana in detail. So please listen to me carefully. And hello, hello, you can hear me? Hello? Yes. Okay. Uh, this is the most important part, and I think it would be very difficult to learn this portion yourself. And from my experience, I have created an easy way to understand this topic. So please listen carefully. This is the most important part. And after this session, I'm going to conclude this session to you. So please stay tuned, listen carefully. So moving to the most important area, which is called Anumana. Okay, listen very, very carefully. And in this, we have to explain three concepts. And let me start with an example. This is the example which is seen in all the textbooks. So I have also taken this example for you. Even the question papers use this example for asking you many questions. Okay. So the structure of Anumana is given over here. One person sees smoke on a distant hill, and he remembers something. When you see smoke, what is the assumption that comes to your mind? What do you think immediately when you see smoke somewhere? What is that assumption that comes to your mind? You want me to zoom this again? Okay, this is an example. It is available in Wikipedia. This is available in Google. The same example for Anumana. Okay, my question to you: when you see, yeah, someone has given a funny answer. Thanks a lot for making me laugh, at least for a second. But please do not repent after the results. Then the answer is smoke. One sees smoke on a distant hill. It is due to fire, right? It's not due to water. It's due to, yeah, I think your logic is right, because when you heat water, the steam arises, right? So that might be the reason. Okay, that's fine. My creativity is good, but please do not be more creative now. Let us be creative as per this example. So one sees smoke on distant hill. One remembers one's experience of the universal connection between smoke and fire, and concludes that therefore the hill is on fire. Okay, right. Okay, you heard smoke, right? Okay. One sees smoke on a distant hill. One remembers one's experience of the universal connection between smoke and fire, and he concludes that the hill is on fire. So please remember this story towards the end of this session, because it is based on this story. I'm going to explain this. So I'm going to split this story into 2 sentences initially, and I'm going to make another sentence into 3 sentences. Okay, I'm going to split this story into 3 sentences. This is the first line number 1. I would say this is the second line and the third line. So the first and the second line, I would say the premises. And in the first line, I'm focusing on 2 terms, smoke and hill. On the first line, I am focusing on 2 terms, smoke and hill. On the second line, I am focusing on 2 terms, smoke and fire. And in the conclusion, it could be very well identified. When you see The word like therefore, it's a conclusion. And in the conclusion part, I'm focusing on two terms, hill and fire. Okay, hill and fire. So to, I want you to attend on these terminologies which I have given in the red color. In the line number, first line, you have to remember smoke and hill. In the second line, you have to remember smoke and fire. And on the third line, you have to remember hill and fire. And see, in the first line and the second line, there is a common term. There is a common term. Which is that common term happening? In the first line and the second line, you have a common term, which is smoke, right? In the first line and the second line, there is a common term, smoke. And the common term is not there in the conclusion. Can you see the common term in the conclusion? No. And I'm going to name this common term. Can you give me a name for this common term? The common term which is there in the premises, which is there in the question, but it is not there in the conclusion. What is that common term called? I'm not getting the kind of answers, replies I got yesterday. Oh, right. You are giving me the right answer, Hedu. But I think if I say Hedu, some might be confused. So I'm going to call this term as the middle term. Okay. I'll represent this term as the middle term. Clear? Middle term appears in the premises. Premises means the question. Middle term appears in the situation, but the middle term won't come in the conclusion. Clear to you? I hope everybody is clear with this. The middle term smoke is there in the question, but in the answer or the conclusion, you do not have the middle term. Now I'm going to name the other two terms. How many different terms are there? There are only three terms over here: smoke, hill, and fire. There are only three different terms: smoke, hill, and fire. So in the conclusion, you see, in the conclusion, the first term is called the subject. The first term is called the subject. Okay. The second term is called the predicate. The second term is called the predicate. I'm speaking from Western logic perspective. The first term of a statement is called the subject and the second term is called predicate. But as you know, this is Indian logic. So I have to represent it by an Indian term. Can you give me a term, the Indian term equivalent for the subject? In Indian logic, subject is known as, subject is called, subject is is please paksha. Very good. Subject is called the paksha, and the predicate is called, predicate is named by which term in Indian logic? As per Indian logic, predicate is known as, predicate is called, the responses are very few. Teaching aptitude, I was getting 100 plus responses. Paroksha, my god, paroksha. You're making huge assumptions. Wrong. Fire is satya, right? Satya. Okay, pratyaksha, and it's not pratyaksha, it is paksha. Okay, paksha is the subject and the predicate is the satya. So I have introduced you to two more terms: the middle term, the subject, the predicate. Middle term is the term that repeats in the question, but it will not come in the answer. The subject is the first term of the conclusion. The subject is the first term of the conclusion. Subject will not come, subject is the first term and the subject is known as paksha and the predicate is the second term, which is known as the satya. And I'm going to rename them again. Subject is also called the minor term. Subject is also known as the minor term. Okay, the minor term. And predicate is known as the major term. So three terms you have to learn. The subject of the conclusion is called the paksha or the minor term. The predicate of the conclusion, which is fire, is called the sadhya or the major term. And since I have given three names each for the subject and predicate, I would also like to name the middle term. The middle term, as one of you has rightly said, is known as hedu. The middle term is hedu. Another name for middle term, can anybody give me another name for hedu as per Indian logic? Another name for hedu, the middle term? Yes, linga. Another name for middle term. There is one more name. Excellent answers from the crowd. Yeah, that's true. One more name you have for the middle term. if you are able to give me that Karana wrong, that's your guesswork. Vyapti. Uh, Vyapti is not the middle term. Vyapti is actually, I'll explain Vyapti after this. Vyapti, it's a slightly higher version. But there is one more name for the middle term. Anybody in this crowd? Madhya, wrong. Your creativity is good, wrong. Can I give the answer? Yes, that very good. Somebody has given the right answer over there. I request everybody to give that account a thumbs up. It would be really nice if you can appreciate that candidate over there. UGC N1479. No idea who this is, but really appreciate your answer over there. And I think if you are able to answer this, you should have an in-depth knowledge in this. Yeah, congrats. The another term for middle term is sadhana. Sadhana. This is another name for the middle term, which is sadhana. So the middle term is known by three other names: hedu, linga, and sadhana. Right. So smoke is the middle term. In this example, I have given you the middle term is smoke, and this is also represented by hedu, linga, and sadhana. And remember, subject or paksha and minor term is same. Hill is the subject, fire is predicate, sadhya and major term. Okay, so this is I have um, given you the entire content through this example, which is required to understand the structure of Anumana. And now it's time for me to explain to you a term which somebody has rightly pointed out in the session, which is called Vyapti. I'm going to explain to you what is Vyapti. So this is the concluding part of the structure of Anumana. So please listen carefully. What is Vyapti? Vyapti is the universal relation. Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term. So if you want to write it down, I'll repeat thrice. Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term. Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term. Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term. And coming to this specific example, Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term. Here, what is the middle term over here? Here, what is the middle term in this example? Middle term in this example is, I need your answers. Middle term in this example. You just refer the example over there. Smoke, yes. The Vyapti is the universal relationship between smoke and the major term. Which is the major term? The major term is fire. Very good. So Vyapti is the universal relation or the invariable concomitance. That is the point you have to write down. Vyapti is the invariable relation. Vyapti is the invariable relation between the middle term and the major term. Vyapti is the invariable relation between the middle term and the major term. Here the middle term is smoke and the major term is fire. So Vyapti is the invariable concomitance. The Vyapti is the invariable concomitance between smoke and fire. Vyapti is the invariable concomitance between smoke and fire. Vyapti is the invariable relation between smoke and fire. So it is through this Vyapti that I am able to conclude that the hill is on fire, because one sees smoke on distant hill and one remembers the experience of the universal connection between smoke and fire, and I am able to conclude that the hill is on fire, because if you have to see smoke somewhere, there must be fire. Only if there is a fire, it will result in a smoke. Without this knowledge, you will not be able to conclude that the hill is on fire. So how are you able to make this strong conclusion? It is through this invariable relation between smoke and fire, and that is known as, referred by the term Vyapti, the invariable relation between, it's a universal fact that connects the middle term and the major term. So we have completed the structure of Anumana in detail, and if you are able to solve the questions with this understanding, I'm sure you will be able to clear the net for sure in the upcoming exam. because you can expect one or two questions. One question for sure from the structure of Anumana. This is not easy to understand yourself. Only with the help of another person, you'll be able to know how to approach this topic. So if you keep reading the textbooks, I don't think it would be really beneficial. But I think with my explanation, you are able to solve few more questions, right? Oh, I have. When will be the upcoming exam? I have a question. Exams will uh, come at the right time. So we cannot predict. You keep preparing well. Sometimes I think the exams might happen in October. Sometimes it might go to December, but it will happen because they have closed the application date and they have collected the huge money with them. So if you do not conduct the exam, I think it is not. It's actually a loss for the entire Indian as net aspirants, right? So they will do the conduct the exam. I think once they announce the NEET exam, it has to happen, but it is highly risky to wait for the exam date to be announced. Keep practicing from today. Even if the exams happen in October, you are able to score well. So you assume the exam happens next month. Start preparing today. All the best. Anyway, uh, Vyapti. What is Vyapti? Vyapti is called the invariable relation between, the middle term and the major term. But if you want to go in depth in Vyapti, you have to learn about Asama Vyapti and Sama Vyapti. If I teach you now, if I teach you the concept of Asama Vyapti and Sama Vyapti now, I think it will take another 15 minutes. So I have to wind up this session by 9:55. That is what I've been asked to from the academy. So I'll be solving a few questions. But before that, I want to explain to you the 5 steps in inference, in deductive inference. There is, in Western logic, there is a concept of deductive inference and inductive inference. Okay, there are two types of reasoning: deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. So in Indian logic, deductive inference means you are moving from a general theory to a particular situation. I am using a general theory to solve a particular situation. I have no time to explain this. Okay. uh, Deductive inference is moving from a general theory to a particular case. Inductive inference is moving from a particular case to a general case. So as per Indian logic, there are 6 steps for inductive reasoning and there are 5 steps for deductive reasoning. Okay, there are 5 steps for deductive reasoning and 6 steps for inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning works on the principle of uniformity of nature. Inductive reasoning works on the principle of uniformity of nature. So please remember deductive inference and inductive inference. I'm not explaining to you what is inductive inference in Indian logic. I'm explaining the steps in deductive inference. Okay, deductive inference happens through 5 steps. The first step for deductive inference is pradijna. The deductive inference is pradijna. The second step in deductive inference is hedu. The third step in deductive inference is udaharana. The fourth step in deductive inference is ubanaya. And the fifth step is nigamana. It's really tough to learn it now, but if you keep revising, I'm sure you'll be able to learn these 5 steps. The 5 steps in deductive inference, as per the Indian logic, are pradijna. Pradijna in this example is equivalent to the hill has fire. When I say the hill has fire, it is a pradijna. Pradijna is something which has to be proved. So I have to prove the hill is on fire. And what has to be proved is the pradijna. The hedu is the reason. Why should I prove this? Why should I prove this? Because it has smoke. Because smoke results from a fire. That's Hedu. It's the second step. The third step is Udaharana. Udaharana means whatever has smoke has fire. So that's a universal concomitance. No, it's not the universal concomitance. It is something, yeah, this is a universal concomitance between the smoke and fire. The smoke and fire. But whenever you see smoke, it is because of fire. That's Udaharana. And the fourth step in deductive inference is Ubanaya. Ubanaya means applying the universal concomitance, the universal rule on the present scenario. So you are applying the universal rule. Whatever has smoke has fire in the present scenario, that is called Ubanaya. And the fifth case is I am making the conclusion that the hill has fire. So deductive inference in Indian logic moves through 5 steps: Pradijna, Hedu, Udaharana, Ubanaya, and Nigamana. Pradijna, Hedu, Udaharana, Ubanaya, and Nigamana. So based on this understanding, I am going to solve the remaining 7 questions and wind up the session today. So we'll start from question number 2 where we left out. Uh, Question number 2, this came for December 2019 net exam, and I would like to you to solve this question. Which of the following is not a necessary step when you present an argument based on the inference? So inference means it could be either deductive or inductive inference. When you infer something, you can infer in 2 ways: deductive or inductive inference. So the question is, which of the following is not a necessary step when you present an argument based on the inference? Inference is either deductive or inductive before others, according to the classical Indian school of logic. So now we have learned the 5 steps. The 5 steps of deductive inference are Pradijna. We just discussed that, right? Pradijna. So you see the options over here. In the 4 options, there is one option which is not a part of inference. Which is the option? Yes, Ubamana. Ubamana is not an inference, a process in inference. So answer for the first question is Ubamana. Nigamana is the last step. Ubanaya is the 4th step, I believe, right? 4th or the 3rd step. Ubanaya is the 4th step. Udaharana is the 3rd step in deductive inference. Then Udaharana is the 3rd step, step number 3. Step number 3 as per the deductive inference. Ubanaya is step number 4. Nigamana is step number 5. So out of the 4 options, there is only one option which is the odd one out. That's called the Ubanaya part. So question number 2, the answer is Ubanaya. Moving to the third question, which could be answered through your understanding on the structure of inference. So let's solve this question, question number 3. Consider the example of Anumana given below. The mountain is fiery because it has smoke. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So which of the following expresses Vyapti? Which of the following expresses Vyapti? I need your answers quickly. Which of the following expresses Vyapti? There is an example, the mountain is fiery because it has smoke. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So can you answer this question? Which of the following expresses Vyapti? Right, yes. Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term, right? Vyapti is the universal relation between the middle term and the major term. Here the middle term is smoke and the major term is fire. So the relation between the middle term and the major term, that's option C, the universal relation between the fire and smoke. I'm taking you to the 4th question, question number 4 from Indian logic. Indian logic, question number 4. Which of the following is signified by Udaharana? Udaharana of Anumana or inference in Indian logic. Which of the following is signified by Udaharana? Udaharana is step number. Udaharana is step number. Do you remember the step number for Udaharana? Udaharana is step number. In 5-step deductive process, Udaharana comes. Step number 1 is Pradijna. Step number 5 is Nigamana. Step number 2 is Hedu. Ubanaya. Udaharana is, yes, step number 3. Step number 3. The statement of reason is Hedu. Statement of reason is Hedu, which is step number 2. Right? So this can't be the answer. The proposition to be proved is called Pradijna. Pradijna, which is step number 1. So this cannot be the answer. The conclusion to be proved. The conclusion to be proved. Which is the conclusion to be proved? The conclusion proved. The conclusion proved is Nigamana. Is Nigamana, right? The conclusion proved is Nigamana. Am I right? Conclusion proved is Nigamana. That is step number 5. So which is the answer for this? Udaharana. Udaharana is universal proposition along with the instance. Right? So the answer for this question is Udaharana. Udaharana is the universal proposition along with the instance. So this is step number. Udaharana is step number 3. Correct? Step number 3. You have one step which is left out. The left out step is Upanaya. Upanaya speaks about applying the case to the present scenario, applying the universal truth to the present scenario. That's step number 4 over here. So the answer for that question was option D. Option D is the right answer for question number 4. And moving to the seventh question, question number 7. We have just 8 minutes more to conclude this session. Just 8 minutes left. Which of the following is not correct? Which of the following is not correct with reference to Anumana according to the school of Indian logic? Which is not correct with respect to Anumana or inference? I want your answers. Which of the following is not correct with respect to Anumana? Requesting your response. Yes. Yeah, something wrong is option D. Option D is wrong. Hedu is the middle term, but it's given us Hedu, the minor term, which is incorrect. But all the 3 options are right. Linga or sadhana is the middle term, right? Paksha is the minor term, sadhya is the major term. So question number 7, the answer is D, option D, which is not correct. The incorrect option is D. Question number 9. I need your answers. This was an easy question that appeared in paper 1 for the chapter of Indian logic. The term Paksha, according to the Indian school of logic, refers to which of the following terms? The Paksha, do you remember? Paksha is there in the conclusion. Paksha is the term Paksha refers to the middle term. Wrong. The term Paksha refers to the minor term, right? The subject of the conclusion. The subject of the conclusion or the minor term is Paksha. Paksha is the minor term or the subject of the conclusion given through option C. Okay. Question number 11. 11. Uh, what are the 5 steps as per the Indian school of logic on the deductive inference? According to the classical Indian logic, what is the correct sequence of steps involved in Anumana? According to classical Indian school of logic, what is the correct sequence of steps involved in Anumana? Quick answers. It starts with Pradigna, it ends in Nigamana. After Pradigna, you're giving me answer? No. After the first step is Pradigna, the second step is Hedu, the third step is Udaharana, step number 4 is Upanaya, and step number 5 is Nigamana. So which is the right answer? I'm getting mixed responses from your side. Some are saying option B. Option B, there is an error in option B. Which is the right answer? Option B or D? B for Bombay, D for Delhi. We have participants across India. Yeah, people are confused between B and D. I think the right answer is D for Delhi, option D. There is a slight variation in option C. B, you look at the option third or second option. Actually, Udaharana should come before Rubanaya. So correct answer is option D. So we have completed the 13 questions that came in December 2019. I'm taking you to the last question for the day, and I believe you enjoyed this session. With the last question, we will conclude this session for the second day, and we will meet again tomorrow, day number 3, with an entirely new module, which is going to be much more interesting than today. So I want you to solve this question. Let's say goodbye after this question. Yeah. Inference Anumana in Indian logic is rooted in. Inference or Anumana in Indian logic is rooted in. See, you can answer this question now. Inference or Anumana in Indian logic is rooted in the invariable relation between yeah, you cannot have a variable relation. If it is a variable relation, it is arthapadi. If it's a variable relation, it is arthapadi. When you have the invariable relation, it is called, the invariable relation is between the middle term and the major term. Between the middle term and the major term. I repeated this sentence earlier. Between the smoke and fire. Smoke is the middle term and fire is the major term. So we have come to the end of the chapter of Indian logic. We learned the 6 pramanas. We learned the structure of Anumana. So I would I'd really thank Sargakshetra for giving me this opportunity. and I really appreciate your participation. Yesterday we had around 750 participants rushing in, but today we have around 400, 500 participants. 100, 200 people are attending the live streaming, and around 300 are today. So I believe this is the right people who want this session. Today's attendance, I believe, will continue over the next 3 days. And let me hand over this session to the academy. If let me see, if Madam wants to conclude this session. Just wait for a second. We'll wind up. Yeah, I'll unmute. I'll unmute. One second. See, I'll make you the host, right? Okay, I'll host you. Let me see the participant list. Hello. Hello, ma'am. Audible. Okay, you have one more video, right? Okay, one second. One second, ma'am. All are
Yeah,
requested.
done.
Okay.
Done. Good evening, students.
Glad to see you all awake at this 10 p.m., enthusiastically answering the questions which Sir is asking you. I should once again appreciate Sir for keeping them awake and enthusiastic. It was such a wonderful session, Sir. Students, let's clap for our Dennis Joe, Sir, for his vigor, for his energy, for his knowledge sharing. Use your reaction video to clap to Dennis Joe, Sir. And I should really appreciate you all. As Sir said, this is a cream set of students who have entered today. Purposely, we had kept it at 8:30 to 10 p.m. to avoid the rush. Yesterday, I myself was not being able to enter because we could only accommodate 500 people and I was not being able to admit by the host. And today we have a cream of students here full-time answering. So appreciate you all. And as Dennis Joe sir was thanking Sargakshetra, let me also take this opportunity to thank our director, Father Alex Praikalam, CMI, of the director of Sargakshetra. Thank you once again, Father, for making this platform so alive for us. And students, I'm sure you are eager to know about the course and the course fees. We will be starting the real session by the middle of August, and the classes will run for 2 hours. It will not be at this midnight, but probably from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. On through alternate days. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday will be the scheduled dates, and the timing will be 2 hours per day. That is how we have the course, and it's, as I told you, only the first come first serve. We will not be able to accommodate you all into the program. Sorry for the interruption. Having subs here. I told you there is a 50% of reduction. There is one more special concession with them to the 100 rupees course for yourself in these days. As this webinar is happening, you should be able to register yourself. Then only you will be getting with that course fees. Prolong with us and good night to you till we meet. I'm certain you all have more doubts. Am I audible? Already given by the homework, you can do the homework and send it to the same number. So we shall wind for the day. There are issues here and there. So see you tomorrow at 8:30. Only those who come early will be admitted, and admit yourself with the special number we have given to you. Good night.